guest request at the last moment. I'll take one more. Everybody double tap the screen. Let's get more people in here. It was kind of winding down, but we'll see if Treed for US 33 has something interesting to talk about. So double tap the screen. Let's get some more viewers in here for one cheeky post-midnight call. What's up?
Hey, what's it? Yeah, I just saw you on the page. I just called in. Guess kind of last minute, I guess.
Yeah, I was like about to sign off, but I saw you. I was like, okay. I'd opened my mouth to say good night to everybody, but I'll take one more.
Yeah, honestly, I'll make this a little bit quick. I won't take up too much of your time.
Not worried about it. What do you want to talk about?
So I think Trump's Iran stuff, I think it largely is actually it's actually going, I'm opposed to it because I think we should have diplomatic solutions, all that kind of stuff. But however it's not going very poorly. It's actually going very well for, all of the strategic objectives that he wants to accomplish.
What are the strategic objectives?
Yeah, to degrade their internal military apparatus, as well as to reduce their ballistic missile firing capacity. And they're doing that by targeting, there's like 2,000 precision targeted
any military action against any country would degrade their military apparatus because they would necessarily use resources.
No, what they're doing is they're targeting the internal oppression apparatus, which is when there's police stations. That's why there was a police, like a park that was named like some police station that was hit accidentally. I think probably that was like some AI, and it's a horrible tragedy. But what they're doing is they're targeting internal, like the ways that Iran kind of brutally put down the protest. They're targeting all of that. That Iran cannot put down future protests.
I've heard that argument before, but I will just point out that the historical precedent is that solution of just bombing all those people to shit doesn't help. What it does is it creates a power vacuum where then you have a bunch of angry people in this country that we bombed to shit who are then mad at America, give them 20 years, and you have a whole new crop of terrorists whose parents were killed in this conflict by American bombs, and we just do the whole fucking thing over again.
So the distinction here is that the bombs are targeted, so they're not just like random. There is a few like misfires.
They bombed a school. You said it yourself.
I know with 2,000 precision strikes, they're targeting like internal roadblocks, like that the military is using checkpoints, internal checkpoints. They're bombing like police stations. They're bombing like military complexes. They are pretty precise in like degrading Iran's internal. And the goal of this is to wipe out their air defense.
How is that a rebuttal to what I just said?
So I'm saying that the goal of this is, let me finish. The goal of this is to wipe out their air defense, so that whenever the next protest occurs, whenever there's like a large dissatisfaction with the Islamic Republic, then Israel will be able to assist with air support and basically drop bombs on the regime. And that's sort of the idea behind what's happening here. And Iran is like completely, they've been pummeled by America. Like we've been planning this for like 6 months. All of our military generals are saying that everything has gone not only exactly the plan, but everything is way ahead of schedules. And we've been so successful in wiping out their leadership class
I take issue with trusting the declarations of an administration that have shown themselves to lie about these sorts of things. I mean, they declared Operation Metro Surge, the like ICE occupation of where I live, a success. But without arresting any of the fraudsters that they came apparently to arrest. So like, I don't trust them when they say that, but I do also see really clear evidence of massive destabilization of the region. We have civilian populations being targeted in neighboring countries. We have massive amounts of oil and gas infrastructure that the entire global economy depends on being not only destroyed in these attacks, but also things like the Strait of Hormuz, where even if the war ended tomorrow, the insurance rates on the boats that are going through the Strait of Hormuz are still going to be bad. The crews, the human beings who occupy these vessels that pass through the Strait of Hormuz, they're still going to be worried about hitting mines that may or may not have been laid by Iran. This has been a massive destabilization to the entire global economy that is going to take ages and ages to fix. Gas prices aren't going to go down if the war ends. They're going to stay where they are for quite a while because of this sort of destabilization. I don't understand.
So with the Strait of Hormuz, Iran's main use, like their main style to kind of close the strait, is to threaten missile strikes, like low ground missile strikes that travel very close to the water, as well as, and that's actually like a secondary function. Their primary strategy is to use like drone swarms, like seeing drones. And so it requires like drone launchers in order to launch the drones. And so what
that's not
American
even true.
Israel has been doing is they've been wiping those out.
True. The 3 vessels that have been that at least the first 3, I think there's more now, but the first 3 vessels that were attacked by Iran for trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz were not even attacked with either of those mechanisms. They were attacked with naval drones, little speedboats that attack the things. And that's not even consideration of the naval mines that we don't know if they were laying or not, because the boats were deployed to lay them. We destroyed those boats. We don't know if they laid mines, and the only way we're going to find out is if some boats fucking hit them. So like, no, you're wrong about that.
Well, what I'm saying is that their missile capacity and their ability to deploy drone swarms, if you look at the amount of missiles they've been firing and the amount of drone swarms they've been launching, since day one, it's been reduced by 94%.
Right.
We've been hitting. We've been
right. And the reason that's a problem pursuant to the Strait of Hormuz is because Iran would prefer to use things like missiles and drones to defend against boats passing through the Strait of Hormuz, because that allows them to themselves safely navigate the Strait of Hormuz. Whereas if they lay mines, the risk of friendly fire is really high. It can take years, sometimes decades, to demine a territory. There are swaths of this planet where there are entire parts of forest and jungle where when you get to the edge of the forest, there's a sign that says, "Do not tread here. There are mines," from the Vietnam War or from the Korean War or from something like that. And we do not want the Strait of Hormuz to have errant mines in it, because all it will take is the discovery of one of those mines for the crews that operate these ships to refuse to transit through them, and the insurers to refuse to insure the vessel's passage through those waters, even if the crews are willing. That's what I'm talking about. That is a massive problem, and that problem only gets worse if Iran runs out of missiles.
So yeah, I'm not familiar with their mine capabilities or the contingencies in place. I imagine there are, given that we have so thoroughly wiped out their missile and drone infrastructure, and it's down 94%, and it's like dwindling every day. So it's on an extinction trajectory. So the goal there is to wipe out their ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. So Iran they're not even able to close, even if they wanted to.
So I'll just repeat myself, because what I said is that if Iran runs out of missiles, then they will close the Strait of Hormuz by laying mines in it, which is a worse way for it to be closed, because you can't undo the laying of mines.
Yeah, like I could look up the contingencies they have for
You're just not answering
cleaning
my
out the
point.
mines.
I'm saying that pursuant to the Strait of Hormuz, it is better if Iran does not run out of missiles, because if they run out of missiles, they will resort to laying mines, and that is way worse than missiles. Because every Iranian could get killed by America, and those mines would still be sitting there. That's a problem. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, what I'm assuming is that they have contingency plans, just like they have to remove Iran's missile and drone launching capabilities. I'm sure they have that for mines as well. And given that there's such a successful execution on reducing the missile and drone capabilities of Iran, I think there's like something similar that they have with reducing the mine density or the ability for Iran to launch mines as well. This has been like the most. If you look at the numbers,
a bunch of their mine layers. I'll give you that. They have mine laying boats, and we destroyed a bunch of them because we don't want them to be laying mines. But I'm just saying, what is the benefit of all this conflict when we know that the results are bad? The Strait of Hormuz closing is bad. The destruction of oil and gas infrastructure in the area is really, really bad. The attacks on infrastructure in countries surrounding Iran is bad, and the destabilization within Iran is bad. Who is this good for?
So we actually did predict that Iran would kind of lash out and escalate against neighboring countries. But for the most part, Saudi Arabia has been able to intercept a lot of the missiles that have been launched. Saudi Arabia is a big country, so the missile interceptors, it's when you got that much land, it's harder to protect, because obviously there's going to be it's like a wall with a weak brick in the wall. So there's going to be some drones that get through, and then Iran's obviously going to target those weak points. But for the most part, Saudi Arabia has been handling their primary infrastructure. There's some oil fields out forget. But all of this is to Iran's great detriment, right? I have no clue if they're just impulsively escalating. This is not really a good choice for them.
But I really just don't feel like you're answering anything that I'm saying. Why is why is it good that any of this is happening?
So, well, it kind of removes a destabilizing actor in the region, I guess. That's the idea.
Right, but
like the Islamic
yeah, and then
regime.
but then this goes back to the fact that last summer Trump bombed Iran, said that their nuclear capacity was destroyed, was dishonest about that, because obviously for that to be the case, then if that was true, then the war makes no sense to have, and that's after he exited the Iran deal himself, because he said it was a bad deal when we'd negotiated a diplomatic solution to this that he threw away. Why is what he's doing good? We could have just
So the
stayed-
JCPOA
Yeah.
is so the reason that he terminated the JCPOA deal is, and look, I agree with you that I think it should have been reworked. I don't agree with the full unilateral like termination with nothing
You
substituting.
don't agree
but
with
the reason
Trump creating the state of
Well,
affairs that
let me try to
necessitated this
explain.
war.
Hold on, let me try to explain the reason why. So the reason why he pulled out of the JCPOA is because essentially the JCPOA just said, like, for 9 years you're going to allow us to inspect your nuclear sites to make sure that you're not enriching. And in exchange, we'll give you like massive sanction relief. But it was a short-term deal, like for 9 years. And so the main worry was that after 9 years, Iran would be like billions of dollars richer because of all this new economic activity, which they would have benefited from, and that they would have therefore no incentive to renew the deal or anything. They would just like spend the billions of dollars on then developing nuclear, so that like on then nuclear enriching and then acquiring nuclear weapon with this like newfound money.
The
That's the
idea
main
of
concern.
that sort of policy is that after 9 years, you would hope that they have made more money and that they've become a better member of the global economic stage, and that maybe they think, you know what, let's not go back to manufacturing nukes to be at odds with the United States. Maybe let's participate in the global economy in like a forward-thinking and freedom-oriented kind of way, which is what happens to countries as they rise out.
But we can't coerce that.
No, we can't.
That would just be hoping to occur.
But we can't. We're trying to coerce it right now by bombing the shit out of them, which is ineffective. What I'm saying is that instead of coercing it, we can incentivize it by continuing to offer those sorts of deals. That was working. You said yourself that you didn't like the way that Trump overturned it, and now we're fighting a war because he overturned it. What on earth is your point?
No, I'm saying that I think the deal was flawed. I would support a deal in which Iran was welcomed into the international community, as well as they committed to not enriching, because I think we both agree that Iran having nuclear weapons.
That's the
is not
path
good.
we were on. Donald Trump took us off that path, and now we're at war with them. What is your point?
What people are saying is that Iran had no reason to renew. There was under no coercion to renew. They actually had an interest in acquiring nuclear weapons because that would guarantee basically eternal security. Like for North Korea, North Korea is not going to be regime changed anytime soon. And if the Islamic Republic, I mean, yeah, sure, they could enjoy like another 10 years of economic prosperity, or they could like secure the eternity of the Islamic Republic by just spending all the money on nuclear enrichment, which I think obviously a rational state would just say, oh, we need to immediately like get a nuclear weapon, right? Because America and Israel are going to target it.
Right, but you do realize that starting this war has made Americans less safe from retaliation from Iran, because now Iran is highly incentivized to attack Americans and American infrastructure, whereas prior to Trump's actions, they were incentivized to behave themselves.
I don't think Iran will attack any American infrastructure. I think they'd have basically no retaliation capability against America.
I worry. It would be pretty difficult for Iran to launch a plane to fly to America and bomb something. It would get shot down. I do worry, however, about there being pro-Iranian.
They don't even attack our assets in the region. Like all the assets they have attacked so far is what we anticipated would occur. They're just like stationary bases that we abandoned.
They killed servicemen who were stationed at those bases. What are you talking about? That's wrong. They did attack us.
I'm saying that those bases they're not like naval assets which just entered the region. All of those have not been hit. Like none of them have been hit. And Iran again has been losing massively lost.
Not surprised that we have naval superiority of them, but that is not a response to my point.
No, I'm saying that I don't think they're going to harm American infrastructure in any serious way. Like the bombing they did against our bases was largely impotent. I didn't think it had really any effect. It didn't change the ways of the war, the direction of the war at all. It didn't increase their leverage.
Well,
it was
we don't
more
have
so like
that
a
much
visual
infrastructure in the area. The immediate retaliatory strikes that they've had they chose infrastructures that would have the most destabilizing effect on the global energy market, which has been successful, which is why gas is going up so quickly, which is why natural gas is going up so quickly as well.
But yeah, all of this, by the way, was planned ahead of time. Like that's why Trump is going to release like around 200 million barrels of oil from reserves in order to ease again energy prices. And what people are saying is that
that release of reserve has the capacity to replace the oil that's being lost through the closure of the Strait of Hormuz for a matter of days. It's not a big solution. He's putting a Band-Aid on the side of a leaking boat.
I'm not familiar with exactly how they are supplementing the oil.
We don't have enough
the
oil.
prices.
We don't have enough oil reserves to fix the problem. Is the point I'm making?
Yeah, but I guess my counterpoint is that I haven't looked into this part of the situation, but I believe that given like every other part I've looked into, there's been like outstanding sophistication and pre-planning that's occurred, and the execution on all of their objectives has been like phenomenal. It's really like blown away. And so with the oil, I've just heard that Iran has the main concern was that Iran would this is the card they played. Like everyone knew this was good. They were going to play this card, but the main concern was that Iran would retain the ability to close the Hormuz for like indefinitely, like for a period of a few years. Given like the insane amount of damage and like overwhelming, like this is the most one-sided war between civilization and states I think that has ever occurred. Like it is totally asymmetric. I know there's.
I mean, this is fresh news from today, but I don't know if you've heard because it hasn't been confirmed. Okay. It hasn't been confirmed from the other governments, but the Iranian government has said that they are receiving support from Russia and China in their military effort to replenish the resources that you're saying that we've depleted. That's bad. That's like pre-World War III type shit. That's terrifying. My heart sank when I saw that headline. I thought, oh my God, I hope this isn't true. Not to mention the fact that they have effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz. The only boats that can go through it are Iranian boats.
Wait, you said Iran was receiving help.
Iran claimed
in their missile infrastructure, something like that.
This is confirmed by nobody but Iran's government releasing it. But they're saying that they are being materially supported in their military efforts by Russia and China. What that looks like, we don't know, but that's bad. I mean. Like Russia,
I don't think that's real.
Okay, but I'm worried about it. It's
China but so the reason I say it, I don't think that's real or largely impactful, is because China maintains they're not going to be Iran's patron, security patron. There's an article I believe in Bloomberg about this, maybe not Bloomberg, but China's foreign policy is about non-intervention, like sort of a friend to all, ally to none type of policy. They're definitely, and they are like very aware of how the Soviet Union fell, which is that Soviet Union was like hyper interventionist. Resource expenditure abroad was like
reason
insane.
To be skeptical about it, but I also think it is something that we need to take seriously, especially in consideration of the fact that Russia has worked with Iran, obviously, with in the 50 years of conflict that they've had, and then China has been caught, like secretly supplying some stuff for Ukraine and facilitating like the transit of North Korean troops to Ukraine and that sort of thing. So like China's not very public about the assistance that they give other countries, not so public as Russia is, but it is concerning that the Iranian government is announcing publicly that they have help from China. China is one of the greatest military forces on the planet. It's one of the only big ones that we actually have to worry about as Americans. That is terrifying, and the fact that it's even a possibility is something that should have you shaking in the boots that you might be about to get sent to Iran wearing, because Trump fucked up the diplomatic solution that Barack Obama put in place. Like, why is that not? I still don't have any response to the argument I laid out about the fact that it was better before Trump came and fucked it all up. Not to mention all the people dying and all the horrible destabilization over there that doesn't affect us. But even just measuring by the effect on us and the safety of Americans and the safety of our infrastructure, it's bad. You haven't responded to that at all.
Yeah. So so briefly with China, the reason I don't think this is what they're receiving is decisive or even a large, like there's been this in the information space on X specifically, there's like this mythology about Iranian missile capacity. And there's missile storage, like they've been building this up for 30 years. I don't think they have this like mythical, insane repository of missiles that if you just look at the missile firing rates, they've been reduced by like all across the board, like 70%, 80%. Like, I don't think they're like stockpiling. They just like have it all stashed somewhere and waiting.
I just need to say it for everybody listening. I cannot trust your statistics about Iran's remaining military defense and offense capabilities if you got your numbers from fucking Twitter.
No, I'm saying that I did not get my numbers from Twitter. I'm saying that what I'm saying is I'm countering the kind of dominating narrative in the information space. Like it's the amount of like contamination, like information pollution that exists on Twitter is like insane. And that's why I think like people are disconnected from reality. you just gotta look at the numbers, like keep your bias out of it. Like you can probably tell that I'm like more 50-50 on it, but I just keep my bias out of it. I look at the numbers. It looks like America is like completely going to win this. And then with your diplomatic, like I agree with you that Trump messed up the Iran nuclear deal. I totally agree with that.
So if it's a matter of like stalemating against Iran with like missiles, like yeah, we win, we'll have more. I get it. If you know Israel's running out of interceptors at this point because they've been fighting too many wars in the last couple of years. Been doing too many conflicts in the region. The Iron Dome is just literally running out of ammunition to keep defending them. That's bad. Like what are we going to be expected to do once Israel needs our help because the Iron Dome isn't working anymore? Like that's a huge problem, right? But even if none of that was the case, the big problem that the military strategists are pointing out about this right now is that there's 90 fucking million Iranians and they live in a country that has geography that's difficult to conquer. A ground invasion of Iran is what's needed to eradicate them as a military threat, and that would be a fucking disaster.
Yeah, so that's specifically what like members of the military do not want to. They do not want to commit to. Because that would be a huge disaster.
It'd be bad. It'd be horrible. It'd be disaster.
And so what the kind of like current, and this is just in the contours, because that's like regime change in the Islamic Republic. That's like a few years away, but it's going to happen because they're just so weak. So what the contours of what they're discussing is that
wait.
Right now
you just said that regime change in the Islamic Republic is a few years away because they're totally weak. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, dude. They will not be able to have a monopoly over violence over many parts of the region after America completes this war. Like it's going to be really bad.
But so what? Do you think that like we have a long history in this country of learning that you cannot bomb an Islamic country into becoming democratic? What do you think happens next for Iran?
So yeah, the current thought is that there's going to be a coalition which forms amongst like opposition. Of course, during the war, there is not going to be very much opposition since there's going to be a rally on the flag effect. But like if you look at the history of regime changes, they usually happen not during war period. Like armies don't defect once they're invaded. Like upon like contact and invasion, there's not like a defection of the army. Usually they defend the homeland. But after the war, like in the inter period, that's when you kind of get instability, and that's where you get like an unstable security situation. And so there's thinking that since Iran is like more of a westernized, country, like much more so than Palestine, that like they are much more favorable to integration in the region, economic integration, enjoying prosperity.
So the thought is that I'm trying to understand what your answer to my question is. I asked you what you think is next for Iran. Are you saying that like they're gonna what? What is your answer to that question?
They're gonna form a coalition with opposition forces domestically within the country.
You think that all of the various opposition forces in Iran, of which there are many, are going to come together and like agree on some new system of governance that's going to be better for the people of Iran and better for the world that Iran exists in?
Yeah, that's the idea. It's very fragmented right now.
High, dude. That's not what history tells us is going to happen. We've fought this war before with a similar nearby country to Iran. It's not how it goes. Like how can you explain what happened in Afghanistan after Joe Biden pulled out our last troops? When you how can you not learn the lesson from that these sorts of occupations of countries are not good?
No, so I'm not saying that American troops would occupy Iran. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that an internal coalition would form, and then America and Israel would provide air support to their anti-regime operations, as well as there'd be like a neighboring Azerbaijan who would be like
delusional. I'm sorry, you have no.
This is what people are discussing in the national security space.
People are talking about it. People are saying it all over the place. Yeah, people are saying it on Twitter. No, dude, like what is?
I think you're going to see this in the next few years. You're going to see what I'm suggesting or what I'm like.
Time will tell. But how many people have to die for us to find out that you're wrong about that?
Well, the difference here is that we're not sending American troops in there, so there won't be an occupation. It'll just be like a pro-American coalition, which is supported by
people are
local
dying
forces.
Already, dude. Like the war is happening is bad. Like, it's not good there. Thousands of people have died.
Okay. Well, do you understand my point about how I don't think that we should be doing as a favor diplomacy?
I don't think that I do understand.
I also don't think it's a disaster.
I really don't think I understand your point.
Well, my point is that if you take your bias out of it, like you just objectively observe reality, like the facts on the ground, like reality always everything always meets reality. Like whatever the narrative is, reality is always going to show out at the end of the day. Trump's operation in Iran is not going to be a failure. It's not going to fail to achieve any of its. You just look at all of the I know it's a very
people had that sort of confidence going into Bush's wars in the Middle East. People really supported the decision to go to those wars because of 9/11, but they were total failures.
Well, the previous wars, they involved much higher commitments, and that was it's very different than this one, for the reason being Trump is not going to commit any ground troops, and Israel is going to be far more involved.
Well, but then why did we just send 2,200 Marines to the area?
I think we sent those Marines to the area, I think for the reason of just active duty standby troops. I don't believe. I know that there's a lot of people speculating about some Poland military activity that was canceled, and people speculate that troops are being transported over. I highly doubt that, because that would be how you spoil the win.
If we're going to speculate, can I tell you why I think we sent the troops there? I think that we sent the troops there. Ooh, let's get this up. Ooh, clicked the wrong things. There we go. I think that we sent the troops there in order to capture. Where is it? This island. There's my hot take. There's a lot of oil infrastructure on this island. It's like an important choke point for Iran's oil infrastructure and dominance in the region. Now dominance, because they have control of the Strait of Hormuz. I wager that because 2,200 troops is nothing. We're not going to invade Iran with 2,200 troops. That's ridiculous. But 2,200 troops might be able to take the island of Karg. So yeah, that's my. If we're speculating, that's why I think we sent 2,200 troops to Iran, is to conquer this little island right here.
Okay, so the idea is that it's going to reduce the government revenue which Iran receives.
Well, yeah, and then it's a point of military strategic value, like the same reason during World War II we were going after all the different islands that Japan was using as airstrips in the in the Pacific. So pretty standard, basic war plan type stuff. But yeah, okay. I'm just not hearing an argument for why you think any of the things that you're saying are true, when I feel like I am making decent arguments for thinking that they are not true.
Well, okay, I guess so my understanding is I'm ambivalent to negative on regime change with Iran. I actually share your skepticism about previous regime change operations in Afghanistan, specifically.
Well, we don't have to be skeptical. That's the past. We know it went badly.
I know. I share, but if you look at the execution of this operation, it is crazy. It's this is. People have been saying it's a disaster. That's not correlated with the facts on the ground at all.
Okay, no,
and so that's why
I'm going to point out a very big way in which you're wrong about that, which is that Donald Trump said that the Strait of Hormuz would not be closed, and he has said that it's not closed, even though it is. Even though he himself is offering naval military support for vessels trying to pass through, which is not very encouraging to the people on those boats and their families back home, right? These are humans on these boats. It's not just oil we're talking about, right? So, in practice, in effect, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, which is why global oil prices and global natural gas prices are increasing, and why, if they continue to stay as high as they are or continue to increase, global prices for things generally are going to increase, because when the cost of fuel goes up, the cost of literally everything on the planet goes up, because we use fuel as a part of the production process for literally everything else. In that measure, Donald Trump having said that the Strait of Hormuz would not be closed, and now us sitting in this situation where it has effectively been closed for coming on 2 or 3 weeks at this point, that is a demonstration of the failure of his attempt to do this with minimal disruption to the world economic stage. So how do you answer that when you say it's a smashing success, everything is going really, really well, when the big thing that literally everybody on the planet was worried about did in fact go badly?
Well, it's an indisputable fact that the Strait of Hormuz is closed right now. As far as the Trump statement, I think that's a psyop. I've heard a lot of those kind of too backwards statements, and I'm assuming that they want to goad Iran into continuing the war, so that Trump has a pretext to continue escalation.
Okay, because you say that him saying
that's not,
that was
they pulled out.
But
his commentary about that, because it's not reflected to why did we pull out all diplomats from the Strait? I believe, or we pulled out all personnel from the Strait a few weeks in advance. why would we do that if it's a complete surprise that they would close the strait? Of course, Iran has a very weak hand. This is one of the cards in their hand. Of course, they're going to play it. Like there's,
right.
No military professional was surprised by this, especially like not
but
the people at CENTCOM.
Trump said, yeah, we knew that. It's not a surprise that they successfully closed the Strait of Hormuz. Even before the attacks, people were saying, well, Iran doesn't have enough military capacity to like really present a threat to the United States, but they sure can close the Strait of Hormuz. But then Trump said that they wouldn't, and then they did. How are you saying that it's going well?
No, I'm saying that Trump's statement, we should not read this as like an earnest, Trump is not earnestly reporting his beliefs. I think he is trying to present a picture of American incompetence to give the Iranian leadership confidence, saying, Americans did not expect this.
Okay, right, but
Trump does these. He did the PSYOP with Venezuela too.
Okay, so if you think that it was a PSYOP of some kind to prevent them from...
Yeah, and Trump did the PSYOP in the 12-day war as well. He did this he planted stories in the media about how Netanyahu and Trump are fighting. That's really not true.
So it wasn't a successful PSYOP.
No, I'm saying that the psychological profile they're trying to generate is that Trump is incompetent, the Americans are being outwitted. And he did this during the 12-day war as well. Like I'm sure you probably saw during the 12-day war, in the prelude, there's like stories about how Netanyahu and Trump are fighting or something. And that was to give the impression of American disunity. And so it would be like unthinkable that, Trump would go negotiate and then hit them really hard. But that's what he did, right? And there was, I think someone in the New York Times or something, they reported that this was like a psychological tool that Trump did. And so that's what I'm saying is that I think like a lot of these Trump statements, you just have to look at the facts on the ground.
All right,
in the fog of war, a lot of stuff
we're talking in circles at this point. I want to ask you just one question about this before I let you go, because it is like bedtime for me.
Sure, I enjoyed chatting with you, by the way.
Appreciate you too. We can disagree, but it is nice that the conversation is functional. I do just want to ask, how do you feel about Trump for more than a decade saying that we should not go to war with Iran? He said that Obama would be weak and a bad negotiator if he went to war with Iran. He ran on a policy of starting no new wars. Not some new wars, not maybe some wars if we need to. He ran on a policy of no new wars. And here we are at war with Iran. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, Trump is a total shill. Like Trump is a complete liar in his campaign. I completely agree with everything you just said. So I'm guessing that Trump had this narcissistic ego.
You support a total shill?
No, I don't support Trump. No, we're debating about the Iran war. This is not an expression of overall support for Trump. No, I don't support Trump.
Well, I mean, all right, dude.
We were just chatting, bro. We were just chatting. I was the last caller. We were just chatting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I guess I should ask more clearly at the beginning. Like, I'm trying to talk to people who support the guy. It's the whole point of the live. But yeah, I mean, you support him in the war in Iran, which is enough for the conversation to have been like not a waste of time. I just think, yeah, the big issue here is that there's a felonious rapist running the country, and among the terrible things he's doing, one of them is fighting a war in Iran that he pinky promised he wouldn't start. Like that.
Yeah, true.
That's
true. I don't agree with the starting of the war in Iran. I just don't know if it's going that badly. But I don't. Yeah, I mean, I everything you agree. I have to agree with everything you're saying.
Out of whack. It's going pretty badly. And yeah.
Okay, we'll see. But yeah, nice chatting with you.
Nice chatting with you as well. Ooh, inhaled some water.
Hopefully, I was a good late night caller here. Last call. Hopefully, I didn't disappoint.
No. I'll let you go, and I'm sure I'll talk to you again.
Okay, thank you.
You have a good evening.
Thank you for the conversation.